Hello everybody, and thank you so much for your patience over the past few months. I know it's been too long since you last heard from me, and I apologize for that. And starting next month, I am going to make sure that I send out a new newsletter once a month. However, despite how long you've had to wait for this one, it's going to have some big announcements, and I cannot wait to get to those. To fill you in on how life has been for me as of late, this past semester has been a particularly challenging one for various reasons. And for that reason, I am not taking any summer classes, but instead I am using the season to focus on my missionary work. However, I am looking forward to taking a week-long sabbatical on August 11th at Hume Lake Christian Camps with some friends from Cornerstone Church, and it's going to be great to be able to spend some time in tranquility in the mountains with God so I can return to my ministry and my education with a renewed spirit. So it's with a heavy heart that I have to announce that I'm ending my ministry to the disabled community. And the reason I am doing that is because for a long time now, many friends of mine have voiced their concern that I've been overcommitting as a missionary. And because I'm trying to juggle so many ministries at once, I haven't been able to make meaningful progress in any of them. And instead, I should focus on one area of ministry. And the reason I chose to back out of the disabilities ministry specifically is because it seems like there was just endless complications that kept coming up that there were no solution to, no matter how hard I worked to find solutions to them. By contrast, the LDS ministry, which is what I'm choosing to focus on, I don't have the same kind of complications, and it feels like Connor and I, we have a unique vision for this ministry, and I don't want to let all this time and effort and all these ideas go to waste. Now, because I'm going to be spending a lot of time at CSUN, I am going to try to be involved with campus ministry to some extent, and I'm looking into ways I can do that without being too much of a time commitment, but it is likely I'm going to have to back out of that as well. Well, now that the bittersweet news is out of the way, now I can get to the just sweet news. And that is in regards to the evangelism pamphlets that Connor Lott and I have been working on for the past few years, going far back to when I was not yet a missionary. And that news is that we've completed the test version of the first pamphlet in our series, which is right here. So if you're not familiar with this project, if you ever have Latter-day Saint missionaries on your doorstep, sometimes they're elder missionaries, other times they're sister missionaries, but either way, they give out a series of pamphlets to present the Latter-day Saint gospel. And Connor and I, we are working on a series of our own pamphlets to serve as friendly but concise rebuttals to these Latter-day Saint pamphlets. These pamphlets that Connor and I are working on, we are going to refer to them as TC LDS pamphlets or traditional Christian Latter-day Saint pamphlets to distinguish them from the pamphlets that they are a response to. And the idea is to have at least one TC pamphlet for each of the Latter-day Saint pamphlets, and then some additional pamphlets that aren't responses to pre-existing Latter-day Saint pamphlets, but pamphlets that cover other important topics to discuss with Latter-day Saints, such as the Trinity. And to clarify, when we say traditional Christians, we are referring to Christians from denominations that affirm the Nicene Creed. And although there will inevitably be some level of variation between the different traditional Christian pamphlets, they are going to have the same general format. First, they will begin with a restatement of the Latter-day Saint doctrine or the key points from whichever LDS pamphlet it's responding to. And that will include multiple quotes from Latter-day Saint sources, such as their scripture, their church statements, or quotes from their leaders, which show that we are defining their position accurately. After that, there will be a handful of Bible verses in the King James translation with brief notes on the context of those verses, as well as some open-ended questions for the Latter-day Saint to reflect on the meaning of those verses and how they contradict their view, but in a way that still invites feedback from the Latter-day Saint, so it's not a one-sided conversation. After that, there will be an analysis of some of the biblical arguments that the Latter-day Saints use to defend their position, as well as similar notes and questions to get them to reflect on the actual meaning of those Bible passages. After that, there will be a few pages dedicated to the reliability of the biblical text as a response to the common Latter-day Saint claim that plain and precious truths have been removed from the Bible in order to cast doubt on any biblical arguments against their position. After we've established the reliability of the Bible, there will be a brief summary of the gospel according to the Bible. And then we will wrap up the pamphlets with some theological terms and the Latter-day Saints definition of those terms, as well as the traditional Christian definition of those terms for comparison, as well as some additional scriptures for the Latter-day Saints to study on their own time, as well as some recommended resources. Although these pamphlets are written as responses to the Latter-day Saint pamphlets, they are still meant to be flexible in terms of the circumstances they're being used in. For example, if you have a conversation with some Latter-day Saint missionaries on your doorstep, or if you're having a conversation with an LDS friend or family member or coworker or classmate or acquaintance, these pamphlets should be effective all the same. Even if you're not using these pamphlets in a conversation, but you just have time to give something to a Latter-day Saint for them to read on their own time, this pamphlet should work all the same. And you can access both the PDF and printable versions of our first pamphlet on our new website, tcdialogue.org, and there's a link to that website in the description of this video. And what our next steps are for this project is, one, Connor and I are working on a feedback form, so those of you who are able to use this pamphlet in any context can let us know how we can improve our pamphlet, as well as a follow-up pamphlet to this one. And we are also working on a rough schedule to predict at what rate we're going to be able to get each of our future pamphlets done. So last but certainly not least, Connor and I need your help in reaching the Latter-day Saint community with the gospel of Jesus Christ without anything added to or taken from it. And for that reason, we are humbly asking you to prayerfully consider partnering with us financially, either through one-time gifts or through regular recurring gifts. And if you feel led to, you can send us both through tcdialogue.org or through sowers.org. And from the latter, you can get a tax-deductible receipt. Links to all of that can be found in the description of this video. Also, if you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please do so. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at my missionary email address, also included in the description of this video. Thank you, and God bless.